am back on the road, which I am always on the road at least 5 days a week, right? 5 days a week and 2 days off. But today I decided to do a live stream because I was getting curious about what's the tracking news today, or what's going on in the tracking world, because it seems like everything are good. But I think um so anyhow, so I actually titled my video tracking news. Disclaimer, you guys. So I just went to Google and figure out what's really going on right now, because I've been hearing about this news about um restricting eligibility for non-domicile CDO. So you guys are probably wondering what it is, or maybe you guys probably know what it is. But to me, I know really what it is, and I'm gonna tell you guys why I care and why or what I know about it. Well, so if you guys have been following me, or maybe you guys just found my video, so I've been truck driving since 2017 basically, and then up to date. So I got my CDL in 2017, but I didn't get my trucking job in March of 2018. Hi Jacob. So in March of 2018, that's when I got my trucking job in the US. So this non-domicile CDL, I'm gonna tell you guys how this really relates to me and how I got my CDL, so you guys understand better. Well, non-domiciles is basically like people that are here in the US, but they did not reside in the US. And who are these people? Okay, so it could be like your fiance, like from the Philippines, for instance. Um, so if you have a fiance that are visiting in the U.S., they're non-domicile, or it could be your family, or even the I think the Mexican people that are living in Mexico, but they're here in the U.S., but they have a CDL. They're called non-domicile. Okay, so when I first got my CDO, oh no, for you to become a domicile, you need to be the resident of the US. And how do you become a resident of the US? That's when you get approved for a green card. Okay, so um you guys are probably wondering, or you probably guys are noticing why there's so many people in the US that are from different country. That's really one thing I noticed when I first moved here. I see a lot of people from different nationality. I see like um, Chinese people, um, even sometimes Spanish people. They look like Filipino people. So anyway, so when I first moved here, I didn't feel like I was isolated. So anyway, that's because everybody wants to come to America, and they said America is the land of free. But anyway, well, the U.S. I can't deny it that U.S. you can get about any job you want if you're really willing to work, and and you can make however much money you want to make, and it depends on how you want to work. And anyway, so that's one reason. Oh, basically, it's for economic reason. That's why people want to move here, or want to come to the U.S. And other than that, tourism like that. But anyway, so when I first moved here, um, my husband petitioned me for a K1 fiance visa. You guys probably heard it before, but if not, I'm just gonna tell you guys the story. So when I first fly to the U.S., I was carrying a 90-day visa. It's a fiance, so that allows me to stay in the U.S. for 90 days. And in that 90 days, um, my husband and I, or my fiance and I, which is now my husband, we have to get married within 90 days. So if my husband and I, or my fiance and I at the time didn't get married, then um, then I would have to go back to the Philippines. Okay, but we know we were gonna get married, and so anyway, long story short, we got married. But with that 90-day visa, it actually allows me to get a social security number, and it actually allows me to get a work permit. So with the work permit, if I applied for a work permit that time, I will be considered a non-domicile uh, with work permit, and that's what's um, happening. Like I don't know for how many years. So there are people that come to the U.S. that they're given for a work with a work permit, and then they go get a CDL license. You know what I'm saying? So, so at the time when I came to the U.S., for my first 30 days or 90 days, I didn't get my work permit, but I was eligible for a work permit. So what I did, I applied for a social security number because I thought I needed a social security number to get married. But I didn't think I needed my really number to get married. I don't know, but I just read it, that I needed to get my security number. So after the 90 days has expired, since my husband and I got married, um, so I was eligible to stay, but after the 90 days, I was basically out of status. But since my husband and I was married, um, so I remain in the U.S. So I was eligible to remain in the U.S. even though I was out of status, with the condition that me and my husband and I has to apply for adjustment of status, which adjustment of status is basically an eligibility for you to get a green card. You know what I'm saying? So my first 90 days, I was eligible for work permit, and then I was eligible for the social security. So anyway, within the 90 days, really, I wanted to work. I wanted to work within that 90 days because I know I was eligible to work. But my husband did not want me to work. I told him, you know what, I can work at Walmart. I can help you out with the child support, whatever. Because at the time, my husband was paying $2,600 in child support, which was insane. But so, anyways, if you guys are paying $200, you guys are lucky. But anyway, so my goal, my husband and I's goal was, um, like we had an economic goal. We want to start our life basically. And so anyway, so within the 5 months, I couldn't apply for my. So anyway, I know I'm going really far. My topic is the non-domicile eligibility. Long story short, if this rule takes an effect during, if this rule was affected, how do you say it? If this rule was applied back in 2017, I think I would not be eligible for a CDL. That's what I'm trying to come up with, trying to be the bottom line. So, but then at the time, since that time, I don't really know when it started, when it was, um, I don't know, maybe a lot of truck drivers know. But if I could do a research, I could actually see when was that allowed for a non-domicile to get a CDL driver's license. Okay, so I don't know when it started, but I was actually one of the beneficiary of the non-domicile CDL because I got my CDL. I didn't even have a work permit when I got my CDL. I wasn't eligible to work it, but I have a driver's license, which you guys are probably wondering how did I get my driver's license? Well, back in that year, so I don't know if that's still the same. Um, so anyway, since my husband and I got married within 90 days, right? So after a few months, we submitted our adjustment status, which is basically a green card or application for the residency, so I could stay in the U.S. Uh, permanently. So, so while I was waiting for my green card, I got a letter from the USCIS, which is it's I-797C, and it's a paper. It's almost like a check. It's a nice paper, but it says at the top that it's not a visa. But in that paper, it states that I have a residency pending. Like I'm applying for residency pending for approval. So that paper, together with my social security card, I was able to get my driver's license. So when I got my driver's license, when I went to the local office, um, I think there were at least 2 or 3 workers there. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know if I was really eligible for driver's license. But they called the capital of the Ohio, and they said I was eligible. So they actually did some background check to see if I. Oh, another thing, you guys too. Um, with the fiance visa, it's not just you can just come here. You actually have to go through some background checks. So uh, before I was approved for the fiance visa, I was cleared. You know what I'm saying? With the background check, criminal background, whatever. So anyway, they also made sure that my husband, had no criminal record or something, because I've heard that if the if the fiance is trying to petition another not another woman, if a American is trying to petition a foreign fiance, that guy has to clear a background check too. So I'm not gonna talk about it. Um, but anyway, so I finally got my driver's license, right? And then so I'm like a my husband's actually out. So he's like, what are you talking about? So so I got my driver's license. So at the time, since my green card was still pending, I was considered a non-domiciled, um, non-domiciled, not CDL, because at the time I didn't have my CDL. Non-domicile driver, non-domicile driver. Okay, so so I know, my husband and I's plan was really for me to truck drive, because when I was in the Philippines, I really wanted to be a truck driver, because I don't know, it's just me. I was not the person. I don't know how to say it, but anyway, so to make it story short, I wanted to be a truck driver. When I first met my husband. So anyway, so it was already our plan that I was gonna be a truck driver. But when I actually came to the U.S., I actually changed my mind. My mind changed like 3 times. I was like, no, I want to be a nurse. I want to go to a class and be a nurse in a couple years. And then I was like, no, maybe I'm just gonna pursue, or I'm just gonna transfer my teaching license in the Philippines to the U.S. That was another thing that I was thinking. Um, but I couldn't decide. But one thing for sure, though, my husband did not want me to work at Walmart for sure. So anyway, at the time, I couldn't decide what I was gonna do, because I didn't have a work permit yet. I could not work. But the only thing I could do is I know I could learn something. So at the time, that's when I said, you know what, I'm gonna go see if I'm eligible to apply for a truck driver, or if I can go get a class and be a CDL truck driver. And luckily, my stepson, he's an American, um, my stepson and I went to a truck driving school, and so we didn't have money. I couldn't even get a loan for a truck driver, because at the time I didn't have any credit or something. So we didn't have cash money to pay for that. So I actually got approved for a loan because my husband, helped me out for that. So anyway, so I got my CDL. Long story short, I got my CDL and I passed my test. It took me 3 times to pass the test, but I was really passionate about learning to drive, especially the stick. It was kind of hard. I struggle a little bit. There were a lot of guys there that, oh my gosh, especially when they found out that my husband was an American guy. They were like, oh no, you didn't need to learn. You just have to go home. Your husband's already a truck driver. I was like, no, I'm here. I'm paying for this class because I want to learn how to drive a truck, and I want to learn the safety. Anyway, so I'm actually here, not to cut the story short. I'm actually here, waiting for the team that I'm gonna switch trailer, which they're here now. But so so anyway, so fast forward to now, with what happened with you know this guy in Florida, that he did a illegal U-turn and stuff like that, and um, so they just changed the law. So now, I think effective September 29, 2025, any non-domicile, um, that are here in the U.S. basically, that have work permit, they cannot get a truck driver license anymore. So with that being said, they're not eligible um, to get a class. Even if they have cash money. Oh, they're here now. So so anyway, so I was actually I'm actually one of the beneficiary of becoming a CDO driver, which is non-domicile at the time. But am I upset with the new rule? No. I guess it's actually I guess it has to end because there are a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of company out there that are taking advantage in a way that um, this company has so much freight that they gotta move, but they didn't have truck drivers. They didn't have drivers, and they pay crazy low money. So who are gonna apply for those company that doesn't pay drivers? So the people that are not here living in the U.S. permanently. So anyway, what I'm saying is that it's just sad. It's sad for other people, really. I'm not saying that non-domicile are actually not good drivers, or I'm not saying that all of them are bad drivers. I think they're just bad, maybe in a way that they're not properly trained, and and they're not given enough time to figure out really what the road is, you know. So even nowadays, I mean, even now myself. I still consider myself as I'm learning every single time, you know. Um, but anyhow, so I think I'm gonna end my video now. But that's all. With if you guys want to know more about the new rule, I wish I just seen it actually. But anyway, hold on. I'll be right back. Just gonna get my paper. Okay, but there's actually there's someone I know that actually has a work permit and they have a CDL, but I don't know if they can renew their CDL. That's probably a different story, but I think I gotta go now, you guys. Maybe I'll talk more later. Bye bye.